From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision Bill Fisher. There's soon to be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher, our Captain Marvel, Head Flight trainee, Jennifer Scripchuck, and our Batman, master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission? To fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes and Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes and Training Podcast. I'm going to be one of the hosts for this episode, and my name is Bill. Who else is hosting?
I am Vicki.
And I'm Jennifer.
We got that right. We're getting better at this.
Yeah, we did. We practiced.
Yes, that's true. The name tags on our shirt probably helps. So where are we? Vicki, where are we?
Where are we? As in what?
Where are we? What kind of podcast episode are we doing, Miss Vicki?
We're doing our 101 podcast.
Racing 101.
Racing, yep. So you want a race car.
So you want to be a race car.
So, yes, we got quite a bit of stuff, I think, that we are covering just for those who are the newbies that are relatively interested in racing. And Bill, what are we going to go over today?
Well, it's not artistic. It's what I excel in. It's called Microsoft Excel.
Yes. Bill is a king of data.
That's right.
We have so much data.
We got data. We got data about our data.
Yes. Jennifer was we just went over this right before we started this podcast, and Jennifer was a little shocked.
I was.
There was some information on her.
I know.
Good information, but
it was very good information.
Brother is watching.
I know. I said I kind of feel violated. There's so much information on me.
Do you want to know what your average time on New Jersey Motorsports Park track is for the past 3 years? I can tell you. It's in here. Anyway. Yes, we are going through what Vicki lovingly refers to as Bill's overpacking list, where I get made fun of for bringing too much to the track.
No.
And my response is, I don't care. I don't want to leave it in the garage. So,
you know what? I think you've gotten better.
I have, but we also did go through an entire pickup truck the first year with my packing. So maybe there's some grounds to this assertion of overpacking, but I don't care. It would drive me batty to have something sitting in the garage that we need and not at the track. So I just bring it all. Anyway, on our website, we have an earlier version of our checklist. I think I'm probably going to update it with this newer version. We're up to, I think we're in version number 50 right now. And I'll probably trim some of it out because nobody really cares about what our average times are at pit race from 2019. So might skip that part. But if you ever need to do this, there's no reason for you to take notes on this and write everything down. It's already written down. We'll put it on our website. So Miss Vicki, what do you want to know? What do you want to know?
Well, I think it's time that we go over what some of the big basic tools that you need at the track. Now, keep in mind that when you are at the track, and any of these things that we are going to discuss are not available within your personal garage, your personal portable garage, that you can ask anybody and they will gladly help or offer what they have to help. So,
Absolutely.
But we're going to go over the big basics of stuff that you are definitely going to have when you travel to the track.
So,
Okay.
Bill.
Yes, ma'am.
What's your top 10?
Well, I never really
question.
ranked it. I can
a good
rank
one.
this if you want. We do have a ranking. If you notice in one of the columns, it says the priority of having this. This is the 1, you don't race without it. 2, you should bring it. And 3, it's a nice to have. So we do have it ranked, but I never really ranked them that way. So
Because Bill is just that anal when it comes to data in a good way. Honestly, if Bill did not do this, we'd be a hot mess. We really, really would be.
You mean more of a hot mess?
More of a hot mess.
We have come a long way.
We have.
Yeah.
We have.
Mhm.
Oh, speaking of things that came a long way.
Okay.
We were supposed to do a what have you been up to in the garage segment. So Jen.
Yes.
Okay, that was good. Thanks. Vicki. Because Jen's in quarantine. She can't do anything.
I've been busy.
Jennifer.
Yes.
Well, besides the 101s, we should actually save these for the non-101s.
You just said you wanted to do it at dinner.
I know, but I think that we should do these not in the 101 series.
Okay, so we're not going to do it for another 2 weeks.
Okay, we can do it.
I'm just trying to find out what you want, sweetie.
What are you doing?
She wants to do the garage update,
Okay.
but now she doesn't want to do a garage update. So I'm trying to find out where we're going.
I just didn't realize it was going to be 2 weeks before we put that out, but it's fine. All right, we can do a garage update.
Okay. Hey, I got an idea. We were supposed to do this when we started this podcast, and I totally forgot because I am a podcast host with the most. Anyway, wow, that was like a 1950s American Bandstand thing. Anyway, Dick Clark signing in for Garage Heroes in Training. Miss Jennifer, you are quarantined, COVID related up in or down in Delaware. So
Yes.
have you been up to anything garage related?
No, not
Okay.
too much.
Jennifer's been a hero.
You have been a hero. What were you up
She-
to literally
has-
yesterday?
She has been to a racetrack.
I went to a racetrack yesterday.
What have you been doing at a racetrack, Jennifer?
Yeah, and tell us how your laps went at the racetrack.
I have been giving vaccines at the racetrack
Hero.
with FEMA and the National Guard.
Did you give them quickly?
I gave about 240 people their vaccine yesterday.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So they had a drive-through at the Monster Mile yesterday.
Dover Downs.
It was
Dover
my
Downs.
first track of the season. Unfortunately, it didn't involve a race car or a helmet, but you know,
They did have cones. Did you knock any over just for practice?
not me. There was a few that did, but it wasn't me.
You said people knock them over in a parking lot and they're not even autocrossing. Anyway,
But my spring break is coming up, and I am headed up there.
sweet.
Yes, Jennifer, we have to start thinking on a theme. I've been
Yes.
sending you a lot of stuff over as inspiration.
Yes.
Or we don't have to go in the direction of that. We're not, it's a quiet thing, guys. We can't talk to you about it, but
Talk the
Jennifer?
process. We can't talk the detail.
right,
Yeah.
we can't talk the detail, but Jennifer and I are working on the theme for the truck.
Very
Which is
exciting.
yes. So I think that since you're not joining us, Jennifer lives about almost 3 hours away from me. About
I'm
two and a
here
half,
too.
3. So kind of start getting your mind kind of wrapped around an idea on the theming part. So when you come up, we can kind of
Knock it out.
knock it out.
Well, since
Yep.
you're not going to have any time, you better really knock it out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
That's all right. We can do it.
We can do it.
well, we have no choice because nobody's going to do it for us. So, Miss Vicki,
Mhm.
it's your time to gloat. It's your time to brag. It's your time to get your pat on the back. What have
Vicki
you been up
is
to?
The true badass in this scenario.
Alan and I have been absolutely rebuilding the truck from bottom up. The only thing we haven't touched is the motor, the actual
Block.
the actual block itself. We have just about replaced everything on that vehicle, and we started at about, I know I walked into the garage about a little bit after 10, between 10 and 10:30 yesterday. I didn't leave till 12:30 at night. And we turned the truck over, put the tires on, and it sounded beautiful. It sounded clean. Has a new everything. Just about. So,
Highlights.
oh, well, we replaced, I believe, the water pump, the fuel pump. We have a new steering box in. We have a new lower steering column in. A new not a brand new transmission, but now we have the slave cylinder inside the transmission versus outside the transmission as it was before. So we actually had to redo the firewall for the clutch master because it was set up for a different transmission.
The different
and
clutch master.
Exact for a different clutch master. So we actually had to rebuild that. I ended up visiting a fabrication shop, a metal fabrication shop, and
Who knew?
they, yeah, was on the way home and from visiting the parts department saying there is no part for that. You need to put it into the steel of the firewall. It's actually there's an opening cut for that model, and that cut was damaged from the former transmission that was in there because it was an older year. So I had to have something fabricated. How am I going to do this? Stop by a machine shop. That wasn't a machine shop. It was a metal fabricator, and they designed a piece of steel laser cut to fit that master cylinder, which Alan and I put onto the firewall. We bolted it on. So let me see, what else did we do? We have a new reservoir in there. We have an entirely new front suspension. So it has all new tie rods, all new control arms. We have new hubs. What else do we have?
Bushings.
Yeah, we end up doing all the bushings in the car. So, and now we still had to move to the back. So now we're working on the sway bar in the back, and we are working on, we just attached the drivetrain last night, and
Fuel cell.
well, we kind of just straightened up the fuel cell a little bit, and now I have to go ahead. We haven't, since I hit the donor car at the end of season last year, we have a new hood, so we have to send that out. Bill's going to send that out and go have that power washed. And now we just have to finish reassembling, and then we're ready to go. So I guess it was all basically the consumables. Everything was replaced. Is that about?
So you're
Yeah.
saying our truck had consumption?
Yeah, well, our truck, because listen, when we started all the racing, we did not know what we did not know. So we knew that you had to do off-season maintenance, but to us, off-season maintenance didn't translate to taking everything apart and examining. We didn't really know what you needed to examine. But this past season, we understood, and it clicked, and the truck was neglected because of our lack of knowledge, skill, and just general knowing of what to do with it in those off seasons. We made up for it, and we cleaned it up, and I think it's going to be a really good season for it. It's going to run beautiful. I mean, it started right up. It sounded gorgeous. So I'm excited.
Whoop, whoop.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think we put a lot of hours in, and if it shows up and shows off at the track, that would be great. Even if it doesn't, I think we did what we were supposed to do.
Much. We learned. I learned so much.
That's awesome.
Just like I can go in there and understand what we needed to do. I mean, I put a bell housing on. Oh, it actually has a whole new clutch. It has a new flywheel. All of it,
Yep.
So it's exciting. If they ask me what I need, whatever's going on with the truck, you need to address this, I know exactly where to go now and what to do.
New hubs.
Mm-hmm.
New studs.
Yep. New hubs, new studs.
New lug.
Yeah. Right now we're working on fluids right now because everything is new. So we're putting all that in there right now. And I think it's going to be a gorgeous season with it. I'm excited. So, we're about 3 weeks to the race starts.
4.
For 4 weeks. So we're 4 weeks. We're not ahead of schedule.
Nope.
We're slightly ahead of schedule, but
Alan is
right. Alan is coming up on Wednesday, and we're going to be finishing up. I still have to get the speed sensor off the old transmission, which is in the other hangar. I think we have a couple transmissions over there, so I need to get that. So there's some minor things that we need to do to start finishing it off. And ideally,
we're gonna
yeah.
have a garage double check everything just in case.
Yeah, we're sending it out to the garage, and we're going to have them. I mean, we put on and we welded a new piece onto the exhaust system. We put the exhaust system on yesterday.
New transmission mount too.
Yeah, we had to refab the transmission mount because the transmission didn't line up properly. The transmission it's actually for the truck versus the older one, which
the transmission mount was like 4 inches off where it needed to be.
Yeah. So we pulled that out, and Alan welded up. He did some welding and he kind of made a new section for that. And then we put that sucker back on. So we understand that the exhaust system, because of where we had to place the fuel cell, we had to reroute the exhaust system. So it's kind of tricky on where that exhaust system ends. Well, okay. So the fuel cell it's a very large fuel cell, and it sits in the very back of the truck, back near the bumper. And the truck has an open back end. So we can't have the exhaust system run out near there because the exhaust systems are hot. You don't want that next to your fuel cell. So the exhaust system has to come in a little bit shorter, which kind of right now it puts it in a really weird place where you either have to put it below or around the leaf spring, which is bad because that moves, or you have to move it more towards the front of the tire if you can. So where it's supposed to end, you can't. And our fuel cell sits low. It has its plus and minuses. Yes, you can carry a lot of fuel, but also when you're racing the truck gets lighter as you're racing it, as you start using up fuel, which happens with most, but ours happens to be a very large fuel cell. So not having that any excess weight back there, you feel a difference when you're racing the truck. It makes it more fun, a little bit more challenging. Listen, the truck is a little bit challenging to drive at times, but it is fun because you to have those challenges. So the other thing that we're having an issue we need to solve is whether to keep the back sway bar, because it has links that kind of sit near the leaf springs in the back. And again, those leaf springs bounce back up and down when the truck moves. So we're actually talking about moving those links further in, which will require us to do a little bit more welding. It's just flipping them from one side of the sway bar where we anchor it to the other face of where that connection is. So that's going to be something that we're going to look at in the future. Not this right now. We're just trying to get to this race, but I think Tuesday, hopefully Thursday, we're going to take it to the shop and we're going to have them look at the exhaust system, see if they come up with a better route or a better plan, and just have them do a nut and bolt check. And, I want them to check the fluids, make sure we get all the air out of the clutch system, and make sure we get all the air out of the brakes, and
just make sure we didn't do anything wrong. Make
sure right now we still have something we call the Jesus part, which we don't know where it goes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we have a Jesus part. We called over to Chris and Chrissy and Jeff, and they're like, "Hey, I don't know what that is." We're like, "We don't know either." I'm pouring through the manuals trying to find this part where it goes. But Chris and Chrissy, actually, I spoke to Jeff, and Jeff says, "Listen, we pulled a lot of extra parts out of that truck that didn't necessarily need to go. It could be a residual part. So it might not even go to that car. I don't know, because we're also working on another vehicle. So we're going to be carrying this Jesus part with us for a while until maybe
somebody somewhere will be able to identify it.
No, well, just in case.
We may need to come up with a more socially conscious name for the part, shall we say?
Yeah. So how about just the mystery part?
There you go.
Okay.
A little better.
Right. So we are we're trying to find a place for this mystery part. It looks like it is a support bracket for something. And we thought that it went to support the power steering to like maybe the frame or something like that. But then it's like, it's not fitting. It doesn't go there. Also, by the way, we also had to lift the engine and put new motor mounts in. The motor mounts, they weren't connected. The motor was just kind of sitting at, motor mounts were smoked, absolutely smoked. So we kind of thought it was like in one of those areas, but we couldn't find where it went. So we're going to be carrying it just in case something falls off the truck. And then okay, that's where it goes. Or something's rattling. All right, that's it. Found it. So next time we dig our head in there, and if we happen to be with the team who we bought the truck off of, and we happen to be hanging around with them going, this is the part. Do you know where this goes? But everything else is torqued in properly, and I'm really excited because that's the first time I've ever worked that hard on a truck before, and just kind of went in there and just everything clicked. Everything clicked when I had was working this past winter. Like, I understand how this thing works now. So it was pretty awesome.
Awesome.
That's good.
Excellent.
I'm so impressed.
All right. Well, post-COVID, Jen, you too shall be there.
I'll help you, Jen.
I know. You are my spirit animal.
Our training matrix will come in.
Yes.
Okay. So we got to go back to tools.
Okay.
Top 10, Bill. You didn't answer my question.
I have so many. It's like kids, I can't pick a favorite, Jen. So what we've done is we've got a list, and it's got everything by priority, and then it's got whether we have a dedicated one, as in it only stays with the truck or the car or the trailer, or if it's in the garage and we kind of go back and forth. So we are somewhat lucky in that we have one set of tools that we bring to HPDEs, and then we have another set of tools that we bring to the racetrack, and then we have a set of tools we use in the garage. So you probably aren't going to start this way, but right here at this first list that we're talking about right now, this is a small Milwaukee rolling stackable cabinet that we have, and we put this together for our HPDEs, and which is where you go to a track day and you try and take typically your normal street car, and you're not expecting a lot of maintenance, you're not expecting a lot of breakdowns and everything, but you just want to be able to address the common things. So this may be a very good way to start your tool collection, because when we started, we had a hammer and we had a screwdriver, and we may have had a socket wrench, maybe, when we started this
And
thing.
a bunch of miscellaneous Allen keys.
Yeah, we got a lot of Allen keys. We still can't open Allen up, but we've got an Allen key. But
So the reason why that we have the tool situation that we do have is that we started out, Bill and I, as an anniversary present, we got ourselves a beautiful sonic set. And
that's the one that stays in the garage because it's
yes,
too expensive to.
Well, the thing was,
at the track.
Listen, guys out there, is like, yes, you can go to Harbor Freight, and
we did.
Right. And the thing is that if you're in our experience, in our limited experience, is that we had taken our wonderful set and we found that it was really, really hard to keep track of. And we decided not to send our best set. We are not going to send our snap-ons out to the racetrack because things start to disappear.
Not that people take them. It's just
sometimes they just don't come back by accident.
You lose
or
them.
You lose
take them on the
grass,
track.
Take them in exactly. So we have learned that if we're going to take anything to the track, we will not going to take our best sets out there. So we will take our Harbor Freight sets and we'll leave our great sets in for the garage where the maintenance is where we need it to be. But for fast tools, I would not invest in anything just to take to the track. I would simply hit a Harbor Freight, or if you look at your tools like a 3-tier, I would probably go to a 1 or 2 tier for the track.
Yeah.
Leave your 3 tiers in your garage so you can, pet them and enjoy them.
So Vicki, when you're not petting your tools,
Listen, I'm really enjoying the tools. I am.
I'm well aware. Well aware.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what do you guys consider your basic tools? What are the tools that you go to the most?
Sockets.
Okay.
Socket sets.
Socket sets. So you want to
socket.
have the 1/4 inch, which is a smaller size. You want to have the 3/8 inch, which is the medium size, and then you want to have at least a 1/2 inch for some of the heavier, bigger.
Right. And guys, they're the actual ratchet.
That's the ratchet itself.
For those that don't know tools, they're the actual ratchet itself, and the rest are just the openings that they sit on. So,
and then on the ratchet, you put your socket. Now, if you have a European car or a Japanese car, you only need to bring the metric set. However, if you have a U.S. car or several other types of cars, you need both. So since we drive almost everything, we have both. So we have double the sockets. Right behind sockets, I would say, is wrenches. Right?
Yep. And wrenches and ratchet wrenches.
Yeah. We typically, you get more secure grip onto the nut or the bolt with a closed head, which is the one that looks like a circle, than you do with the open end wrench. But we have a set of closed end wrenches that have a ratchet inside. Now, they're not the most sturdy ratchet, so you're not going to use it as your breaker bar, but for things that are normally tight or normally to loosen or to tighten, it's more than sufficient, and it gets you into spots, and you can use your ratchet in spots where your socket and ratchet won't fit. So Vicki likes those. It's kind of her go-to place. We have a set of SAE Freedom units, and we have a set of metric.
Yep. You're also going to need a breaker bar.
Vicki's favorite tool.
My favorite tool is a breaker bar. You can probably get away with
breaker
it.
Bar?
Breaker bar. It just breaks the bolts loose. If you don't have a breaker bar, you can probably, you're going to have a jack stand. You can probably get a tool to slide the second part of your portable jack stand. Jack
handle
onto the handle and then twist it. If you don't have a breaker bar, it does work. You can make
physically a breaker bar is usually a 1/2 inch socket and with like 2 or 3 feet of bar.
Right. So, I think that one. You're going to need your impact gun. A small impact gun would be good. And
you prefer battery powered?
Yeah.
A lot of people like air powered, but
you can't take air power to the track very easily. So, definitely batteries.
And battery is a big choice. You have to choose your ecosystem with your battery. So you want to stay in one family. So if you want to go with a DeWalt tool, or you want to go with a Harbor Freight tool, or you want to go with a Milwaukee tool, or you want to try to stay in one family so you have the same batteries, because the batteries are, in many cases, more expensive than the tool. So we chose to go with DeWalt. We had a very detailed explanation as to why we went with DeWalt. It had all the tools we wanted, and none of our friends were using them at the time. So
you can't take them.
Well, they can take them, but they bring them back. But you just you go looking for the yellow and black one, or if you're a Milwaukee person, you go looking for the red ones. But so think about it that way. They've got their pluses and minuses. We actually have one Milwaukee battery powered tool that we like a lot, and Miss Vicki was going to get into it because her hands are usually wrapped around it. So
the other thing along with your sockets and your ratchet sets is you're going to have all your extenders, because you're going to end up in parts of the engine where you just can't reach, and it's going to be a really pain. So you need to have various kinds of extensions. Really important.
And wobbles.
Yes, exactly. So important.
Okay. Some of the things that we haven't talked about, just general, we joked around about Allen wrenches. So there's basically 3 types of Allen wrenches: metric, English or SAE, or freedom units, depending on how you want to talk to it. And then Torx. Torx are, they look like a rod with several spikes on the end. So from the end, and or a sun. How about a sun? Go with the sun. And those are ones you'll use many times. If you buy a set on a handle, it will skip some of the sizes you need, like the typical handle style that opens up like a pocket knife.
Right.
The metric one never has a 7, and we need a 7 for our BMW, which is very frustrating. So you may want to buy those loose pocket pouches and get one of those. Just make sure you have the sizes you need. And when you find out that you need it and you don't have it, borrow it from somebody, but make a list and keep track of it, because your tools will build themselves. Yeah.
Now, when we go to the track, we take a rolling cabinet with us. Some people actually have cabinets that are built into their trailer. If you happen to go the route of taking a cabinet with you, what I highly recommend you do is get an organizer for inside your cabinet, so you can organize where all your sets go, all your pieces go. You'll be able to quickly identify them, especially with your garage king or queen who's cleaning up after you. They'll be able to better keep track of your tools, and they'll be able to better grab what you need if you need it. Highly, highly recommend. It has really helped us out. For
what's missing, and what's not away.
Exactly. And you don't have to go through tons of bits just to find something. Now, I personally, when I am crawling around underneath something, I have a tendency I have a handy little Husky container that has all my sockets, and it has some other bits in it. Mostly it's just all the big sockets. I put that on a little dolly so I can roll it around now. It's just a little tiny, furniture dolly, and it fits perfect.
Next thing it's going to have a dog collar on it and a leash.
Right.
She's just going to take it for walks.
You could probably get away with having that kit with you. So it would probably have some of your big basics if you want to keep something cheap. It does pretty much have almost everything that you need for starters.
It's one of those 200-ish piece socket.
It has like 3 drawers
with drawers
or 2 drawers.
Two drawers and an open top.
And it has all your wrenches in it, and it has all your drill, all your bits, and it has some other bits in it for you also, and it has your Allen. As a starter set, I would highly recommend. It's great.
Doesn't have drills. It has
bits. Right. So it's a good starter.
Yeah, it's good going. And remember, when you're going to an HPD, you're not supposed to be pushing your car that hard, so you shouldn't be breaking it so much.
No, and I find myself using that more than the tool cabinets, only because I'm usually either sitting low or under a car, or it just saves me from it's just right next to me. I can grab whatever I need right next to me, and it's organized.
And she has a sous chef, so
yes, Bill's my sous chef.
So yes. What else do we typically bring?
You have got to bring your torque wrench.
Torque wrench.
Yes.
What's a torque wrench, just in case?
The torque wrench, it allows you to tighten your bolts precisely. There's usually a big one that you use for your tires. On all your lug nuts, you have got to torque your tires properly. And
it's usually going to be in the 70 to 90 foot-pounds range.
Right, exactly. But if you're going to be working on the engine itself, you're going to want the mid one, the smaller version. And that kind of goes from like 10 to 100. I found myself using that a ton when I was.
I think it's actually lower. I think it's probably like 10 to 50 or 10 to 70.
Yeah, but then we have another one after that works in inches.
Mm-hmm. So you have 3, but the third one's kind of
it's for a lot of smaller stuff. And
your tools will grow with time.
Yeah, and definitely take a book. Take a book on your car, for sure. Yes.
Okay. So books come in what I call 3 levels.
Okay.
There's the standard like Haynes level, which is kind of a 150, 200 page book. And then we've got another set of books, which is more in the 300 to 400 pages level. That's like the Bentley manual for our BMW. And then we found something in the past couple of weeks. It's called eManual Online. And for usually less than $30, you get the actual dealer type repair and maintenance manual, which has everything, every single item, every single setting, every single system, all of it identified. And for $30, can't be beat. E-manual
Now,
online.
what I do enjoy about the e-manual online is that it essentially looks like when you go to a parts department and they're looking up a part and they give a schematic and they break down the schematic in detail of assembly. So I can identify exactly where that part is and how it would fit on. That's the bonus of the e-manual. The lower one is great. It doesn't give you a ton of information, but it gives you all the torque specs right on the front page of every chapter, which is what I'm using it for mostly. As for the detail of it, it's really kind of hard to get a picture of where things are supposed to go. It's kind of because it's all done in black and white, but I definitely love the upper level ones. I just hate to get them dirty working in the shop.
And the e-manual online, they get sent to you as usually PDFs or some other type of electrical file. So you can keep them literally on your phone.
Yeah.
So anyway, Miss Jen, what else do we typically bring? What haven't we covered in this section?
Drills.
Drills. That's right. We like to take a couple different kind of drills. We've got the normal drill, which has like a chuck on it that tightens around round things. Then we have what we call the quick connects. They have a hex bolt on it, and then we have the torque. The impact drills for typically we use those for the lug nuts or for the nuts that just don't want to cooperate. So we persuade them to cooperate. So Jen, which one of those is your favorite? Do you have a favorite drill?
You mean, I thought you were going to ask me the favorite nut that doesn't cooperate.
Oh, do you have it? Well, we're not talking about Alan now, but we could.
I don't have a favorite.
No? Okay. All right.
I don't.
All right. Very well.
I do like drills, though.
You do?
I do.
You go get them sometimes, and we don't even need them. But that's awesome.
So here's some of the things that I've learned about drills. We have a larger impact drill, and then which is fine. It's a heavy duty, right? It is a big kahuna, and that can be used for gingerly for like removing lug nuts or trying to break a stud of some sort. Not really recommended for working on tires. I know that when you kind of sit down and you watch the guys that are like in the pit areas at races, they kind of have these drills in the movies and you see them ripping. That's the fastest way to hit your tire with one of those impact guns to put on your lug nuts. It will destroy the lug nut. It will destroy the stud. Don't do that. I actually use the very large impact gun very rarely anymore.
Good for taking off, though.
Good for taking things off. Good for getting stubborn bolts, but you have to make sure you have the right exact fit of the socket that goes on it. And there's special sockets you can have. Bill knows. What are the black sockets? They're
impact.
The impact ones. Then there is the one that's lower than that. It is an impact gun. It is not as powerful as the large one. It's lighter. And I also use that very gingerly if I just want to speed something up, to put a bolt on without tightening it, just to kind of put it in, and then I'll come back and I'll torque it with something else. You just don't put anything straight through, much like you see at the races and the movies. What I'm finding that I really enjoy right now is the drill, the smaller drill with a socket fitting on the front. And what that is it is a fitting that fits in, locks in, but was able to hold a socket on the top of it. And what I like about that is that you are able to tighten something without over tightening something quickly and without stripping any bolts or stripping any studs.
What else do we bring on the HPDE list?
You have a hammer with a dead blow, but I'm not sure I know what that one is.
Okay. So the dead blow is ours is orange.
Okay.
So it's plastic filled with sand. Mm-hmm. So what happens is instead of it hitting and bouncing like a normal metallic hammer would, It's a dead blow. It just kind of hits with a thud. So that's the dead blow hammer. We also typically bring a rubber hammer just in case, because I don't know, in case we want to hammer rubber, but we have one. I don't think
Well,
we've
we've
ever used
actually
it.
had to when at one of our races when Bill had gone off track, yeah, well, it did happen. We actually had to fix the fender, so we actually had to bang it back out away from the tire. So that's what you would use your hammer for, just to kind of give some clearance until you can get it back to the shop to go ahead and make necessary repairs.
Yep.
You need to get back on that track as fast as possible, so you're going to have to make questionable maintenance repairs.
And we do bring like a standard hammer,
Mhm.
like a carpentry hammer, but we typically will
Mhm.
bring our ball peen hammer, so you have a flat side and a round side.
Right.
I've never peened a ball with it, but we'll see someday. Anyway, what else do we typically bring?
You're going to have to go ahead and drill bits. You don't use a ton of drill bits.
But you need to bring them.
But you're going to have to bring them because you may have an instance where something might be happening to the car and you might have to do a temporary fix. And that might require you to drill into something. So make sure you have it with you, and make sure you have the right drill bits for it that will go for metal.
Yep.
And not, just don't go out and just buy any drill bits. Make sure you get the proper drill bits.
Yep. You also want to have your screwdriver type.
Mm-hmm.
So your bit drivers, and you also want to have your nut drivers. Nut drivers are essentially like sockets, but they fit into your drill. So sometimes you're able to use those a little bit different.
Yeah. And the other thing is just make sure you bring your brake pad press.
What's a brake pad press?
It is something that's going to help you. Okay, when you take the brakes off, you're going to, in order to put it back on, your brakes have pistons, and you need to press that piston back into the caliper in order to go ahead and put your brake pads in. And that's what your brake pad tool does. It allows you to go ahead and slide those in. Your car should be prepped before then. You most likely will never have to use it because you've already done the work, but you never know what you don't know. So bring it anyway. And
we typically bring 3 to 5 cars. So just in case, we bring it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
Jen, anything else?
Electrical supplies.
It's true. We do bring electrical supplies. We typically will bring a few fuses. Lots of different sizes. They don't take up a lot of space. So we have not a cabinet. We have a small suitcase luggage of fuses and wires and wire strippers and just the general stuff, so we can test things in case we're having electrical problems. So we typically don't need them, but if you're paying a few $100s to go on track and you lose your 20 amp micro fuse, it would be a shame to miss some runs just due to a 20-cent part. So we bring them just in case. And this is a subset of our big packing list, which we can go into at another point. But.
Yeah. So you also need to bring baling wire. You may have to wire some stuff up to hold just in case. It's always good to bring zip ties too, just in case. It goes along with just basic fasteners. You're gonna need things to fasten. Good to have also. And while we're at it, we're discussing all of our tools and tool storage. It's always good to either bring little 1-gallon buckets or magnetic trays, because now that you're going to have tools flying all over the place, you're going to have a handy way of collecting them and keeping them together. Magnetic trays, you can sit them right onto the car. All the stuff sits right there and sticks to it. It's very, very handy. If you have a bucket, you can have your person who maintains the garage. If you have a bucket right next to you, they can actually, as they're cleaning things up and make sure all your stuff is tidy in one area, that make sure that you have access to it. They can just grab that bucket and take it back and put it away when they're done, when that car goes out.
True. What would you use baling wire for?
Oh, going back to baling wire. Baling wire in case
you said
things...
the word and walked away. So.
Oh, no. I already said you're going to need fasteners in case something happens to your car. And you might need to say wire a fender on, or something has happened to where your front grille has damage. Listen, sometimes these things happen. You don't want them to happen. They happen. You may have to do some wiring to hold that on to finish your race. So that's what I would use the baling wire for.
And you know what's really important that
Tell
we
me.
didn't talk about?
What's that?
Well, especially when you bring battery tools,
Chargers.
it'd be really good to have a charger.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So-
may go through more than one battery. We bring several batteries and we bring chargers.
Yeah. So our technique is that we have a bucket that we keep charged batteries in. And we have another bucket where we have batteries that are done that haven't made it onto the charger yet. And that's what kind of keeps us organized to kind of quick and grab and go.
Yep.
Mhm.
The other thing that we don't have in this is anything you can do to keep yourself organized is really critical. A fellow team of ours, Three Pedal Mafia, who has the Everyone Racers podcast, they have a nice helmet stand, which we have envy of. We do it a slightly different way. We have an origami shelf, which we use. Both ways work. I don't know. Theirs takes up less space. Vicki
We
likes
had more
origami.
team members though at the time.
We do. Don't forget chargers for your phones. Don't forget
A charging stand.
we have a tower where one plug plugs in to anywhere, and then you have 12 different stations, 4 of them for USB type plugging, and then 8 or 10 of them for standard 3-prong plugs. Because most of the stuff you need to charge at the track do not take a lot of juice. They're charging a phone, or they're charging a GoPro, or they're charging things that don't have a lot of draw, so you can get lots and lots and lots of plugs with just one. So we like doing that.
Bring electrical tape too. Don't forget your tapes.
Electrical tape. You want to bring painter's tape in case you need to put numbers on your car.
Duct tape.
Just
in case. But yeah, make sure you get your tapes, just in case you might have an electrical issue. You're going to have to have that.
Okay.
Yep.
Now we've got, let me see, that is our HPDE list. Now we've got a list of 84 tools that you need to gather. And then we've got a list of 134 tools that we just leave in the trailer.
Right.
We are not going to go over those.
No, these are like the next level. But we are going to put this whole entire list on our website. Yep. And you could go ahead and access, what you find may work for you, and what you might find might not work for you. It's fine, but it's what we use for the most part, definitely between the garage and racing.
So again, our lists are ours. You can edit them, modify them, take them, add them, subtract from them, whatever. It could fit from you.
Bill's quite a comprehensive person, so keep that in mind when you take it. That's
code for I pack too much.
A little bit, but sometimes we've had to use that unicorn.
That's true.
We
we also have some extra columns besides what it is and yes or no. We have where it is, like, is it a part? Is it a tool? Is it a supply? Is it something you just check? Like before you go to the race, you need to check to see if you have brake fluid, things like that. We have a priority system, 1 being you can't do it without it. 2 being nice to have, 3 being, if you
it's
can.
not necessary.
Yeah.
But if you happen to be that upper tier and you can pull it off like an engine lift,
yeah,
I'm sure you could find an engine lift if you needed to at a race.
We've done it.
We were at a race and we needed an engine lift.
There was only one, so we almost lost.
Yep.
And then
someone had one.
They did. And then we have whether we have it, like, is it packed and dedicated, whether we need it or whether we need to go find it.
Right.
And then who's responsible for the list, because we found that it's a lot easier if you just have one person doing it, because then you don't have the same person looking for the same thing 3 different times. And then we have a check box for, is it done?
The other thing that I found to be extremely helpful is the bucket bolt, or the bolt bucket. That we ended up having an issue where we needed, this was like our very, very first race, maybe first year of racing. And something had happened where we had lost a bolt, or we needed a bolt. And we went over to our sister team friends, Three Pedal Mafia. And they're like, oh yeah, here. And they handed us this bag of miscellaneous nuts and bolts from whatever they had been working on, whether they were tearing a car apart. They were all rusted, which is fine. You don't need to worry about clean nuts and bolts.
Not super rusted. They were
no.
They weren't coming off the hardware shelf.
No, they weren't. But what was great is that whatever we needed was in that was in that thing, and they just carried it for the miscellaneous reasons. I highly recommend that if you're getting rid of anything that you're working on your car, and you have those extra bits are laying around, put them in a bucket and take them with you, because you may need something out of that. Very, very handy.
Yep. So, Miss Jen, did we miss anything that you can think of? I think pretty well. I mean,
I know. Make sure you have a little chair or a little something to sit on when you're working on your stuff.
Can you share about your chair?
Yes.
She has lots of chairs.
We ended up, okay. Some of the handy things that I think we've brought up in our other episode of Everyone Wants a Race Car was we use a little Tykes chair, which is a perfect height for when you're working on a car, and it's light. It doesn't have rollers, but you don't necessarily need it, but it's shorter than a regular stool.
And it's little Tykes, so it's durable.
Yeah. And we found ourselves using that more than we do the actual rolling, either sitting rolling cabinets or rolling chairs or whatever. And of course, take something like mats that you can lay on if the ground's going to be cold for you. We take mats and cardboard.
And there's lots and lots of different ways. And there's just like the little Tykes chair works. There's also the ones where you can get from Harbor Freight that's like a bar stool stand with rollers. Then there's the 4-wheel container that's a little more structurally supportive, especially if you're luxurious. There's lots of different ways to get there. You've got creepers, you've got lots of stuff you could bring.
It helps put on tires. It really helps when you have to do tire work.
We're just trying to cover some of the basics. So that's kind of the gotta have list. I think it was, let's see, we've got 29 different items we just talked about. We have much bigger lists. If you want them, please go to our website, Garage Heroes and Training garageheroesandtraining.com, and it will be there. If you guys have something that you think we need to know about that we don't have on our list, we'd love to know what those are, because God forbid Bill has to go buy new tools.
So listen, on our website, if you have any little tips and tricks that makes organization in your hangar or your garage, or when you're at the racetrack in the paddock, any other little tips that you found, little tips and tricks, great, share them with everybody, and we'll present them on the podcast.
Oh, going back, you started talking and then you wandered and I never got back to it.
Okay.
Tool organizers. A lot of people have a drawer and they throw their sockets in and they throw their wrenches in and they close the drawer and that's organized. Other people have tool rolls where you have usually it's a piece of canvas or something like it, and you have different pockets, and you like screwdrivers and wrenches, you put them in. We have the plastic, 200, I think it's 240 or so piece from Lowe's or from Home Depot or Craftsman tool chest where you get everything. But we've found two different ways of organizing our drawers in our tool cabinets that we seem to like. You want to describe those?
Well, number one, Bill dedicates every drawer and he lines it out in detail what's in that drawer. And it keeps them all relatively separate. But what he did find in one, which is kind of clever, was a flat, it almost looks like a flat plastic tight pegboard. And these little 200 piece nodules fit on them enough to fit the base of the sockets. And then they have little holders that actually hold the ratchet sets also. So he has the top drawer is completely set with everything is sitting up so we can identify. And then he's labeled each one with like a little brother P-Touch.
Nope.
So he's labeled
There's
each place.
stickers
Yeah.
that come with it. So
Yeah. So
all the sockets and all the socket wrenches and all the ratchets and all the extensions and all the
right.
all
Everything.
the wobbles, everything is in one drawer, and every single one has its spot, and you know where the 10 is, or you know where the 12
We
is.
know what was missing. So whatever's missing, we know what we have to keep an eye out for now.
Mhm.
So what's great is it makes it easier to put it away, because now we call them 10-minute tidies in the hangar. It's like, I'm doing a 10-minute tidy. So we just go through and we wipe down all your tools before you put them away. Just don't throw them in there and destroy your stuff. We actually
sous
have,
chef.
right. We have hand wipes. Well, no,
Baby
they're,
wipes.
they're baby wipes. Yeah. We use the baby wipes because they don't really have anything harsh in them. And we just do a quick wipe. If you find a little bit of rust in your sockets or something like that, what I've started to do is I started to oil them and then kind of wipe them out because I don't want the rust. So we have these baby wipes that are around where we could just quickly wipe off the tools and we just put them back. And it might sound anal, but it keeps us organized, and it just gives everybody just a moment to kind of regrip and take a break from a frustrating part of the engine. Going, okay, I'm walking away from this engine part. I can't get it. I'm going to throw something. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to organize a little bit.
And we have the B Squad Hot Rod podcast foam cones for when we do get that way. And
Yeah,
we grab
we
them,
do.
we squeeze them
Yeah.
and throw them around the garage.
Yeah, we do. So the other thing that we did is that sometimes the wrenches that are in the drawers come lined up side by side in like this little foam base. Well, they're very easy to make if you go ahead and purchase the foam base, and you can actually mimic that. You just basically is that you have a base that's thin and you can have a color. Ours is red. Then we have a black top.
Mhm.
And
Called Kaizen boards.
right now, all I did was I just lined up the wrenches and how I wanted them all to lay out, and then I just took an X-Acto knife and I cut slots for them, and I just glued them on that red foam. So I have black foam sitting on top of red foam, and then I labeled where they all go, and that just sits in the drawer. So now all my ratchet wrenches of both metric and US are sit side by side in that drawer. So now we know to kind of go and grab. Bill's main function in the garage is organization systems. It's one thing that Bill is really, really good at. So we let Bill run with that, and that keeps us, that keeps the team organized. So he is always working on systems, and him setting up the organization of the cabinets, it just makes it easy to go grab something. It's just not all laying around. So this kind of works. And we took this
Don't have
measure.
time to waste to find things.
No. So we took the measure from the Sonic cabinet that we had received, because everything is so precise and so organized in that. We figured, why don't we just do this with most of the cabinets? Now, granted, you can't do that with all the drawers, but you can do those with the big important stuff like your ratchet wrenches and your sockets. Sockets, you can't lose track of how your sockets are lined out, because that's just, it's a hot mess.
10 millimeter disappears to everywhere.
Yeah. And definitely have extra 10 mLs, 10 millimeters. Have lots of those.
You know what? We forgot one thing.
What's that?
Each of our cars seems to have something unique that it requires in order to be worked on.
Mm-hmm.
Liam's car has a special lug nut socket.
Yeah.
Our BMW has a special 46 millimeter socket, or the front wheel bearing tool. So as you know your car and do things with your car, you'll find specific tools that your car needs in order to be able to do some of the things you're trying to do to it. And your number of tools will grow with time. So just be prepared, leave yourself some room when you're organizing things. We will have pictures of our some of our tool drawers that are organized, showing you some examples of what you could do, not what you should do.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose to find which ones you like and which ones you don't like. Some of them are relatively cheap and some of them are a little pricey, but it's the amount of time you can save and the amount of things you can get done quicker if you're organized and everything's where it should be, as opposed to looking around for where's the 3/8" ratchet. It's significant, especially if you're at a race weekend, never mind every day at the hangar or every day at the garage.
Yeah, our next up and coming challenge is going to be, now that we're working on the cars more and working on them in more detail, trying to keep track of parts and bits is really hard. Now, granted, we found everything that went all back onto the car, but it was really difficult at one point. We're just like, I forgot where this nut went, because we were working on 3 different or 4 different projects at one time. And I didn't know what went where. So that's going to have to be the other challenge we're going to have to tackle.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
But that's a different podcast.
Yeah, it is going to be that's going to be a garage hangar podcast.
Garage, mostly.
Hmm?
Miss Jen.
Yes.
How are we doing? We do okay?
Yeah.
Anything that comes to mind that we screwed up?
No.
Jennifer is going to be in next for the what are we going to be doing? Theming.
That's right.
The theming podcast.
Yeah. This
We
year
had to-
just sucked.
It was tough.
It was a tough year.
Boys. But we're getting there. Hopefully everybody else is doing well and healthy and their cars are coming along. I see lots of posts on Instagram seeming that most cars are coming along quite nicely.
Mhm.
There's a couple people I was worried about, and actually this weekend they posted a few things that it looks like we're all going to be ready. Who knew?
I'm so excited to see everybody again.
Would be fun.
Yeah, we usually go up to your house a lot more than we did. I mean, we
Wow.
usually go up in February. We usually go up at New Year's.
Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll still accept you, Jen. Don't you worry.
I know.
We'll take you. You can come on up anytime.
Just been a tough year.
It has.
Has
But if
been.
that's the worst that we get to complain about, we're doing okay, guys.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
So Racing 101, tools to bring. You can bring a bajillion tools. We kind of covered the essentials. If you think of something that we missed on the essential list, we don't mind picking it up. And then we've got the monster list, and on the website, we will be posting pictures of some of the drawers and some of the things that we talked about with some links for everybody. So that's it for this episode of Racing 101 Tools.
Mhm.
The challenge for tools when you're at the track is you are not at your house. So you need to get them there and have them somewhat organized and not lose them, and hopefully bring all of them back with you. So,
Mhm.
and that's not as easy as it sounds, but that's okay. All right. Anything else?
Nope. I think we're good.
All right. Signing off. Welcome to Dominating with Dawson, coming soon.
Yay.
Like right now. Bye.
Dominating with Dawson.
All right. We're dominating with Dawson with
Yeah.
Ben Dawson.
Hello. Who else is here?
Got other people?
I'm Vicki.
Oh,
And I'm Jen.
that's right.
Ben is back.
Ben is back.
Correct.
We're doing our Dominating with Dawson 101s.
Welcome, beginners.
Welcome to Fantasy Raceland. So
Yeah.
Seriously.
I don't know. It's late. I'm just making stuff up now. Anyway, so being a boy who was born in New Jersey, this is something that I'm very, very familiar with when driving. There's this thing called point buys. The thing is, at the racetrack, you use a totally different finger than you do when you're driving in New Jersey.
How about that?
So Ben, what is a point buy in racing terms?
A point buy is where you've got a car coming up behind you that's going to pass you, and you point. Usually, it's pointing outside the car. So if the car is going to pass you to the right, you stick your arm way out the car and up over the top of the car. If the
Yes.
car's going to pass you to your left, you just stick your arm straight out the car and point. And I'm doing it like a crazy person, like
It's
you can
awesome.
see me.
It's spectacular for a video, an audio podcast, but you're doing it really well.
But yeah, the idea is that you're prearranging where you want the car that's gonna overtake you. You're prearranging where you hope they'll overtake you. Typically,
It is giving them a manual turn signal.
Yeah, it's sort of a hope you turn signal, like please go that way. That's where I want you to do this, because as you're doing that, you're sort of trying to manage traffic around you as you're getting past too. So that's part of what's happening. But it's called a point by because you're making a point so the person can go by. So that's why it's called a point by. It's shorthand for pointing your finger out so somebody can go by you. So they're pretty much a currency in HPDE or track day kind of driving, where different experience groups will say, novice and intermediate, usually there's no passing without a point by or indication from the car you're passing where to go. So a lot of times in more advanced groups will be, there's passing anywhere but with a point by. So maybe even during a turn or something like that, or you can have it. And this should back up and say usually novice and intermediate groups in a DE will have designated zones. So the novice group may have one or two straightaways where they can pass. The intermediate people may have a couple of more passing zones added. And typically by the time you get to advanced or the super advanced groups, you can kind of pass anywhere with a point by. Sometimes there's groups where you pass. The instructor group at a DE organization might be passing without a point by if all the instructors are into it and want to do it. Yep. So that's kind of where they stand. And you can certainly use them in racing too. It makes sense to use them, especially in endurance racing. If you see a car hauling up on you that's not even in your class, and you just want to try to manage traffic around you, you can kind of give them a point. They may not go where you want. They may get to you faster than what you thought, or slower. So your point by in racing might expire, or they just may not use it. But you can try to use that to manage traffic around you. Does that make sense?
It does. Miss Vicki, your first couple races, you used to have these stripes on your arms.
I did. I actually came out of the car, and like 2 days later, that looked like I had like tiger stripes up my arm because we didn't have any on the car for the point buys. I was pointing by so enthusiastically.
I get you.
And frequently.
That's right. And it was on the underside of my arm, and that's where the door was. And I'm sitting there pointing by, and of course, you're all adrenaline anyway. You don't feel anything.
You don't care.
That's just shoving my arm out. Yeah.
That's
did
a really
lots of points.
example.
It was terrifying the first time out, but it was fun, but terrifying. And I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Just pass me.
Wow.
I passed everybody my first race.
Oh, you
Everybody passed us the first race.
I was also driving a car that was like way illegal for the series, so that's why I was. It's just so fun.
Miss Jen, how are you with point buys? What do you think?
I don't struggle with that. I can get somebody by me.
Yeah,
she can get somebody by. I can get somebody by me.
No, that's great. No, that's a great attitude to have. That's a perfect attitude toward pointing people by. It's like, yeah, I can work traffic. I can get people around me. Having that skill is as important as being able to pass well. So it's all part of the give and take. We're racing together in an endurance race. It's something we're doing together. It's not something that we're doing against each other.
But you a lot of the point buys are unfortunately in HPDs at the risk of you losing your speed on the straightaway, because that's when people want to pass, and you know what I mean. So you kind of don't floor it then, where
right.
Yeah,
that makes sense. It's something to think about too when you're talking about at a DE level. If you're in one of the first groups, like a novice group and an HPDE1 group, a lot of times the student is in the car talking to the instructor, and all they're able to do and all they're able to manage is just keeping the car on the track. Here's where to put the car. All right, make the turn, do this. Like the instructor is usually driving the car with their mouth at that sort of experience level. So if you're back there getting frustrated, maybe it's your second or third time in HPDE1 or the novice group, and you're about to level out, you're frustrated. You're behind that person. It's their first track event. Like, give me a point back. Give me a point back. You have to realize they also paid their money to be there, and they're probably just as busy as they can be in the car. So you have to kind of contextualize what you're doing a little bit. But ultimately, when you're at the track, nobody owes you a point by at any particular moment. They're going to do it when they're comfortable and it's safe for them to do. But so it's
but
all
like you said, when the lower you are on the totem pole, like in D1, 2, or 3, you know what I mean. There's only certain places you're allowed. So typically, when you're in D1, there's like maybe 2 places on like 2 straightaways. So
Well, right, and usually your instructor's kind of gearing you up for like, okay, we got to pass this zone coming over. We're kind of let this person go by if we can. But also, you have to be aware if you're a faster driver in a group and you're about to level out, like you're a big fish in a small pond or whatever in your own group, and you're not getting point buys. There's always the option at a DE to pull into the pits, and you can make a big gap motion with your hands, and that lets the person work in the pit in and pit out. Know that you just came in and you'd like to get some open track to yourself. So
and
it may
we've
cost you a
done that.
little
I've
bit.
done that several times, and that
Right,
works
so
really well.
That's always an option. So if you're feeling stymied, you're in a big conga line, nobody's giving point buys, which happens. I mean, it just happens. It's not something you can control, but what you can control is you can roll in the pits and go, all right, give me some space. And that person can look down track and see a big gap come in and go, all right. They know how quickly to send you out to have you jump right in the big gap. So you got to trust the track workers to kind of put you out and get you some good track time. So that's another thing. When point buys fail, you can always kind of come in and get some time, but just be cognizant of the fact that the car in front of you is doing the best they can, depending on the experience level. And there's definitely times where people just don't give point buys because they're being lazy or they think they want to race you. And that stinks. And that's the time to bring that up to the race organization. That usually happens at a higher experience level, like the novice guys, or sorry, the advanced guys just kind of screwing with each other. Is my experience.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's when you do go complain.
So guess what? We have a new
Tell me.
game. We have a new game.
All right.
Ben, you're going to be the judge.
Okay.
I'm going to be the
Great.
host.
I love this.
I'm going to be
I
the
love
host.
this.
Vicki and Jennifer. Vicki, you have to say vroom, vroom. And Jennifer, you have to say beep, beep to answer the questions. I think there's 3 questions so far. I might come up with more. What does the motion where somebody taps their rear view mirror mean?
I
didn't hear a vroom, vroom.
Oh my gosh. It's tub time. It is totally tub time tonight.
Welcome to Bill's
Say it,
Calgon
Vicki.
Evening.
Vicki, say it.
Vroom, vroom.
There we go. Okay, Vicki, what's your answer?
It means I see you.
I see you too. What do you mean?
It means I see you. So if I'm not comfortable with you passing at the moment, but I will let you pass once I get clearance.
Ben, does she get full points?
That's not something that's common in my region, so I don't really know that motion. I had a student from like the DC area one time who would kind of do that.
Yep.
But I never really called him when he was doing it. What Vicki is describing, at least in the area where I am, a lot of time the student or the instructor at a DE will just wave their hand between the 2 seats to say, "Hey, we see you. We're going to let you get by when we get a chance. I know you're back there."
Yeah, and that's what it's a recognition. Same thing. It's a recognition of the drive to let the driver know that I can see you.
Vicki, you
I
get
see
1
what you're
point.
trying.
You get 1 point, Vicki. Vicki, nice job.
That's full credit. Is that full credit, Bill? 1 point.
Vroom, vroom.
I think she should get full credit.
She did. She got full credit.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 point. 1 unit is full credit apparently.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Miss Jen, you be ready. Remember, you're beep beep. So, okay. What do you do if the passenger who's an instructor gives you a point buy?
You're not supposed.
I didn't hear beep beep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Beep, beep.
Oh, there we go. Roadrunner's here. Hello, Jen.
Such an idiot.
Not you, Jen. Not you, Jen.
Not you, Jen.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
Here, wait a minute. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go throw a pillow in the tub.
Generally,
Yes.
it is not supposed to be the instructor to give the point by. It
So what do you do in the car
should be
behind?
the driver.
What do you do if you're the car behind and the instructor gives you a point buy?
Not go by.
Exactly.
Hell no. If I'm in a car with a student and I know they're so crossed up and I see the instructor's arm come out and things seem safe, I'm like, take it, let's go. Because usually that's probably a situation where we've been so slowed down it almost might be dangerous.
So what you're saying is it depends how vigorously he's waving his hands.
Right, pretty much. Like if it seems like a pretty extreme situation, and it's like a safety issue. I've had it happen. Like when the instructor like just go. Like all right, let's go. So you gotta have to use your discretion. Bill, maybe you're right. I'm sure it depends on your local organization and read the rules.
So Jennifer gets a full point and Ben is no longer the judge.
Yeah, I guess I'm in trouble, but I'll tell you what. Because I'm the when I'm in. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I said that is why I said generally.
Like I'm the worst when I'm in the car with a student and I see the tiniest flicker of a wrist headed out the thing. I'm like, go. So I don't know, but I'm also trying to train race car drivers all the time. If you're in the car with me, you're getting trained to be a race car driver.
The surprised look on my face is monstrous.
He's dumbstruck over there.
Okay. You are coming down out of a turn onto a very long straightaway. The driver in front of you, 2 cars in front of you, is leading a train. They stick their hand out over the roof and point to the right-hand side of the car twice. How many cars can pass?
2.
I didn't hear beep, beep.
Oh, beep, beep.
Oh, Jen. Jen?
2.
Oh, 2.
And
Okay.
I was going to say, after you did your beep, beep, here's a chance to try another answer.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Did I hear a vroom, vroom? Anybody?
No.
No.
Nope.
I got
One car, please.
Just 1 car.
Just one
Okay.
car.
It doesn't matter how many cars the person who's making the point by hopes will go by, because usually that person's miserable. Like, just all y'all go.
Just all
But
you
pretty
go.
much it's the rule generally almost always is one car at a time. So you get that car by, the first car gets by, and then you're kind of got to pay attention for the next one. So if you're the second car in line, don't assume that even if you see them waving their car and pointing more than one time, don't follow through. Don't follow the first car through, or the third. Don't be the third car following the second car or following the first car. That's bad. Only one car per point by.
Now you can point
Even
by
if it's multiple
cars,
motions. Yeah.
but you just
Things
kinda
can
hang.
change that fast anyway.
That's true. So he has to. You approach the car you want to pass, and at that moment, if they give you a point, that's your point, Pop. But you got to be, kind of on the, right behind them, and it's your turn. You can't just kind of go with the group.
Okay. Our last question about point buys. This is so much fun. I'm having such a good time. Okay, you are the car behind someone, and you are looking for a point buy. Where should you be relative to the car in front of you?
Say it again.
You're the car, your second car.
Mhm.
You're looking for a point buy. You would like the car in front of you to point you by. You've just come out of a turn. You're going down a straightaway. Where should you be
You're the
On
faster car.
On
relative
his
to the car?
ass.
Okay. Perhaps an answer
Vicky.
with a vroom,
Vicky.
perhaps a vroom vroom. One
Vroom,
and
vroom
two.
on his ass.
An answer that I don't have to edit would be even better. So perhaps a vroom, vroom.
Right up that motherfucker's ass.
I'm not liking this game anymore. Too much editing.
Yeah. Well, you let the inmates take control of the silence. What happened?
Okay.
You have to be so he can see you,
Okay.
obviously.
So where would you like to be? Where should you be?
On his ass.
Okay. Let's try this again. We need a vroom vroom and something I don't have to edit.
Vroom, vroom.
Oh, yes, Vicki.
Bigger with it.
Oh,
I think we have
all
the
these
vroom
edits
vroom
for a wrong
again.
answer. Oh, my
The
God.
vroom vroom answer is in. Is there a beep beep on this?
Yeah, beep, 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 beep. You got an answer?
Beep beep.
Hey, Jennifer, you got an answer. Go ahead.
Very close to him.
Yes. And?
To the, I guess maybe to the side that you want to pass on. I don't know.
But stop mouthing the word. I have to edit, Vicki. You're not helping. How about Ben? What do you think? I know your preference is Vicki's answer.
No, not. I mean, it probably does seem like I am right on top of other cars as I'm trying to pass them, but usually it's just because we're quickly in motion. Yeah, if I'm at a DE session and I want a car to know that I'm trying to come up and pass, usually you try to read each other's body language. Sometimes you can tell they see you coming. It's pretty obvious, and they go ahead and get the point back coming. But yeah, if you need to make sure, maybe it's been a few times, a few opportunities where you thought you could have gotten a point back and they didn't do it. then maybe it's time to sort of present yourself, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Yep. Present yourself. I like that word. What does that mean?
So, couple different ways to present yourself. I'll give you a more serious way first, and then a more fun way.
I'm sure you
More
will.
serious way is to kind of just be like half a lane over, just be in their mirror.
Yep.
Like so if they're going to be making a right turn, they're going to be looking toward the right.
Yep.
Be on that side. You know what I mean? Sort of be in their mirror. So as they sort of sweep their eyes toward the turn in, they're going to see that you're over there, hopefully. And hopefully they're sort of looking that way a few times, even in the break zone. So like, all right, I'm, even approaching the break zone. Hopefully they're watching their mirror all the time. So that's sort of one way to do it. Because also you offset yourself a little bit, a lane, half a lane. You're in their mirror, but also you're signaling intent. Like, hey, I want to head in here. What's up? We're going to do this together. Because also, like an endurance race, an HPDE or a track day event is a cooperative event, right? You're not competing with each other. You're trying to be out on track, enjoying your open track time together. So that's the point.
Okay.
So if cooperation is not really working, you're like, I feel like I need to get a point from this person. They're slowing me down. Like you showed up at their back door because you were driving your thing faster than they were driving their thing, right?
Yep.
So sometimes you have to be a little assertive, even if they're like, I can't believe this Miata. Miata is gonna pass me. You kind of have to go, all right, let me just kind of let this guy know this is happening. Let this guy or girl know that this is happening. So that's one way to present yourself.
Yep. So about half a car length over, about one car back.
Yeah, don't. I say don't be right up on their bumper, because if you are, they're less likely to see you if you're just right behind them. And if you pop out, they're gonna freak out. So I like to sort of be a little bit further back and kind of telegraph my moves by popping out a little bit. Like, hey, here's what, because it's a DE session. It's not like you're in the draft. You need to stay in the draft to the last second and swing out. Like you're not in a Formula One race. So if you want to, signal your intent halfway down the straightaway, that's fine, because I can let that person know, okay, this is what the guy is going to try to do, and they can figure it out from there. And hopefully do the right thing and give you a point.
All right. And our last question for this fun game that's taking over the nation. Okay. I want everybody, it's an honor system. I didn't prepare you for this. We don't have any cards. I want you to write down your answers. The correct answer or closest to it will split the 1,000,000 points and probably be the winner. The question is, at an HPDE, how many points get subtracted from your score when you point a driver by? Don't cheat off of each other. I need to know. How many points get subtracted off of your score when you allow somebody to pass you and you point them by? All right. Let's see. Let's go, Jennifer. You are currently in second place. Beep beep. What was your answer?
I'm a vroom vroom, aren't
Oh,
I?
no, you're beep beep.
I think you're
I'm beep.
pretty sure
Vicky's
you're
a
beep
vroom
beep.
vroom.
I didn't know there was a scorecard.
There's a score.
There is no
Oh, yeah.
scorecard.
I've got
There's
the
no
scorecard. I have the scorecard.
Ben's the
I've got
judge. He
everybody's
said there's a scorecard.
I have every person who's ever done a DE. I have their scorecard, and I'm judging.
That's right. That's right. Ben is the judge. Don't mess with him. He will subtract points for spelling too. Jennifer, Miss Beep Beep.
You don't lose points for anything.
No? Oh, what do you
no
think?
Points.
Vicky, Miss Vroom Vroom?
No points. There
No
are
points?
No points.
So you don't lose the HPDE points?
No.
Oh, okay.
If you're cool in traffic, you get points with that organization. They'd love to have you back. That's what happens.
Exactly. Just let them go.
If you're cool and you work with everybody in traffic, then they're going to want you to come back and run the track.
Well, yeah,
again.
but that's not points.
I know. We're not
That's
saying
just
it's right.
that's just
It
that's
is
just
a
not
secret.
being
Sorry.
that's
There's
just
no
not
li- there's
being
no-
an a-hole.
Right. There's no literal points.
I
There's no
didn't
literal
say
points.
it. I didn't say it.
How many edits do I have to do in this 10-minute segment?
I didn't
So
say it.
are you
But
saying
the
that
Bible says if
instructors
your
are
ass
keeping
is stranded in
score?
the ditch, what?
Are instructors really keeping score?
No.
No.
Totally kidding. Totally kidding.
It's in the back room.
No. Nobody's
They're
judging
just
you,
talking
but-
about you.
But if you're somebody who goes out and does a great job in traffic, whether you're fast, whether you're slow, whether you're a novice, or whether you're in the advanced group, but if you're out there and you're being cooperative in traffic and you're fun to be out there with, and you're not being like a jerk, I've been to track events where people got kicked out.
Really?
From different groups. Yeah, GTR
do
drivers.
tell us a story.
Always GTR drivers.
What?
That's the story. new Nissan GTR drivers get kicked out of track events because they show up thinking they've got the nuclear weapon that should blow everybody out of the water and shouldn't involve skill. But then it's like, you have to go because you're driving like a total tool. So don't be that person. Be the person who the group enjoys. And when you roll through the text chat, it's like, oh, hey, Jen, what's up? That was so much fun on track with you last time. Remember that? Like be the person who is fun to be on track with and cooperative. And like just like Jen says, don't be like TP for my bunghole.
Yep. So in
There it was,
general,
Vicki.
Can we say bunghole?
Oh, sorry. That's a real person.
I'm gonna be editing for days. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
We really made this fun for you, Bill.
if you're driving on a track and there's a car right behind you, newsflash, they're faster than you. It doesn't matter what car it is. Let them go. You'll both have more fun. Point them by.
Right. There's a point by is a great tool in racing or a DE environment to foster cooperation and safety on track. When there's a big disparity between pace, especially, that's when you use a point by to make things work. And there are a few times where it might get crossed up, or one person doesn't want to give it, or also let's remember in DEs that especially if you're new, you may be so busy you can't give one that time around. That section, you may have to wait for the next section, but we have to be patient and remember that everybody at DE paid a bunch of money to be there, and they deserve to be doing what they're doing on track. So.
Holy cow! I just, because you said GTR, and I looked up a GTR, and holy cow, the base price for a GTR.
Those people are.
Oh my gosh!
Just coincidentally, people who have that kind of money to throw down one time to show up at the track, also not that fun to be around with. But usually endurance racing people are pretty fun at the track.
So you don't want to be that guy who doesn't give the point buys, and you don't want to be that guy who's a jerk because he's not getting a point buy, or that girl.
Exactly. So it's all cool. It's all an event where we're cooperating with each other, trying to have a good time, whether it's endurance racing, or an HPDE. So cooperate with each other, make it all fun. Don't be a problem.
And if you do the point buys right, it's a lot more fun than having to edit Vicki constantly out of this segment. Thank you, everybody.
Tub time for Vicki.
Vroom vroom.
Vroom vroom. Beep beep.
Beep beep.
Night. Good luck.
I'll see you in the tub. All right. Should we cover point buys?
Yeah. Is that the one I added a whole bunch of stuff about?
I don't know. We had it further down. Where was it?
Yeah. So we want to talk about it on a pretty basic level, right?
Yeah. No, it's up number 5 above.
Gotcha.
So
But yeah, we're talking about beginners, right? Beginners kind of context.
Yeah, we'll have our venting session later.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go nuts on how to really use them. Okay, I'm in.
Point buys 101, Ben. 101.
Yeah, I listen to these episodes where you do all the topics, all one after the other. I like how you pepper in some of the candid. Like, oh gosh.
No worries.
It's fun. All right,
we got a good one coming up too.
Great. I'm so scared. I'm so scared to say anything to you guys.
I edit out some stuff.
I'm sure you do.
Most actually.
I'm ready to to point this one by.